Okay, and we're back. As you can see, I went to the Ace Hardware. There's one close by. And I ended up getting one of these dies. This is what you use to put threads on the outsides of rods. And again, these are stainless, so they're going to be a little bit harder to do than just regular carbon steel. But this is the thread pitch on that is actually 5/16 diameter by 18. I'll get it up here close. I don't know if you can see that or not. The size on there, I think it's down there by my index finger. 5/16 by 18. Either way, 5/16 diameter, 18 on the thread pitch. They go down inside these little these tools, and they lock them into position. When you know it, I don't have my flathead screwdriver. I'll just use the universal screwdriver channel locks to loosen that screw to get this down in there. And you're going to be pressing down on this T-handle, or this handle that is used for these dies. We're going to be pressing down on it, so I'm going to insert this so that I'm actually pressing against this back portion here so it doesn't pop out. The screw should just be there to hold it in place. So you got to go the right direction so that the widest opening is facing this side and the narrow one is right here, so it's got the good backstop on it. But I'm going to ream these threads just to make sure that everything goes well and clean off all that old Loctite. They do have these flat spots on the rods right here that you can put a crescent wrench on to hold that steady, and that's one of the ways that I'm going to be holding this thing steady once I get it set up. But I'm just right now I'm not actually cutting threads. I'm just cleaning off the threads from all the factory Loctite that was there to keep them from backing out while you're on the water. And I'll be reapplying the blue stuff. Loctite makes red and blue. Red is for more permanent connections. Blue is going to make it to where it's removable, and that's really something that you want. You want it to hold, but you don't want it to hold so bad that you can't service it. Because if this were to break again, because it broke once, it's very likely it's going to break again. So you go with the blue Loctite, and that's going to just put a little of that on the threads, and when you run that in, once it dries, it's not going to go anywhere. So now I just need to get set up to cut these threads. And this bench really doesn't have a vise or anything on it, so I have to improvise just to be able to do it. I got custom slots everywhere on this table that allow me to, let me move this up where you can see it. Slots on this table that allow me for the building of the fire pits. It's a very custom work area. There are a little bit of threads on this right now. It's just a matter of getting it started and getting it square. So I have to back up this handle. It's going to be a precarious little deal here, but you got to make sure that you're starting square anytime you're running threads on a shaft like this. You're trying to get threads. It's like threading pipe. If you're not square, generally it'll square up, but you're starting by hand, so you really don't have anything to keep you straightened out nice. It'd be easier in a bench vise, I think. I don't know if I can do this or not without a bench vise, but it would definitely be easier in a bench vise because you get a better view of what's going on. But once you get it started and get a small amount of threads going, generally once you're started, it doesn't take that much to keep it on track. It's just a matter of getting it to start threading. And there were some threads on this when I started, so we'll see if we can get this to go. I have to press down on it pretty hard to get it to start. And all of this is because Pelican doesn't sell replacement parts for the first generation drive anymore. They had a lot of trouble with it, and with that first gen, and they made that second gen to try to deal with it, to try to fix that problem. But like I said, it's been about 4 years, so they just stopped making replacement parts, figuring that their warranty claims are all done after 4 years Most people that had one that had problems have already filed their claim, but mine didn't mine didn't break actually for 4 years. I mean, maybe I just don't run them as hard. I mean, it's a personal point of pride with me that I don't beat my stuff up. You know, my vehicles, my motorcycle, you know, all my tools. I try to go easy. I usually stick to the adage that if it's not going easy, then something's wrong, and you need to step back and assess or reevaluate what's happening so you don't make it worse. You know, but getting this to start, that's going to be fun. That's hard steel. It's always harder on stainless. Yeah, almost had it. Well, snap. There we go. Hopefully, I can get this going. And doing this isn't that difficult in the right setting, but I'm just sort of muddling through. So I'm probably just going to pause it here and come back when I've completed it. Well, hopefully this isn't premature, but I think I've finally got this started. I put a little drop of oil in here just to try to make it cut a little easier. Hopefully it's not going to make a liar out of me by slipping off. But the thing you need to remember about working with stainless, especially if you're cutting it, is it is work hardened. So the more you work on it, the harder it's going to get. That's why you got to press hard and go slow when you're drilling or cutting any stainless, because as the heat builds up, the stainless gets harder, and the harder it gets, the harder it is to cut and work with and all that stuff. But I was finally able to get this to start. It's always a good idea to back off once you get started, just to give it a little bit of relief for those cuts. You know, and don't try to do too much too fast, especially when you're working with stainless, because it's just gonna be a struggle the whole time. You know, so hopefully this will allow me to get back out on the water with this kayak and not have to wait for corporate bureaucracy. You know, it's like they're like a drift sock. You know, they won't stop you completely, but they certainly slow things down quite a bit. You know, so I'm working with that, and I'm going to keep doing this, and I'll come back to you when I'm finished. Well, we're getting there. I'd say we're, based on the thread pitch and angle, so we're probably about 80%. It's not a perfect set of threads, but it will work. And that's because I had to start it by hand. Didn't really have a vise to use to make that work. But it does get surprisingly hot. Even though you're not really spinning that fast, the amount of friction that's being applied when this is cutting ends up producing heat. And as I said, heat is your enemy when you're doing anything with stainless, in terms of like cutting, drilling, anything like that. So I gotta let this cool off just a little bit, and then I can start threading it again. Just because it's just getting too difficult to turn it, and I don't want to break the tool. Remember what I said about breaking the tool? Well, I broke the tool. I think I have enough threads on here to actually make it work for what I want to do. I did order a replacement that's designed for the Hobie, but I don't know what the thread pitch or the size of those rods are. But I did have one. I got one on the way, and if it needs to be trimmed to the appropriate length, just shy of 11 inches to make it work. But you know, looking at it, I just tap off any loose stuff. It's not a great looking thread, but it should get me through until the replacement part arrives. I clean this off, put some blue Loctite on it, and get this all back together. But as I said, you know, when you're working with stainless, it's really difficult to cut it, just because it gets work hardened, you know, and if you don't have enough cooling happening, you can actually break the tool. Now that die that I have there to tap these threads on here, cut these threads, that's actually about a $5 part, available at the local hardware store. You can buy just the size you need. Probably should have bought two of them, but it will match the thread pitch, and if it's positioned properly, I should be able to get it to where the fin operates the way that it's supposed to. I hope this helps somebody. I had to kind of muddle my way through on this repair anyway, just because Pelican doesn't make these rods anymore. So hopefully I can get the one from Hobie, and maybe it's threaded from the Hobie original. They still sell parts for that. And I saved some money on the rig, but it's going to take a little bit of sweat equity to keep it going. Anyway, thanks for watching. The other video shows where I tapped or drilled out the what was broke off inside, and how I used one of these little easy out tools, extractors, to get that out of there. And then also held up one of my business cards that for the smokeless fire pits that I build. This workbench is normally set up for that. That's why it's such a hard time, because I don't have like a vise or anything on this. This is very specific to the task of building those smokeless fire pits. I'll put a link in the description to my Etsy shop on that as well. They're called Amicus fire pits. They're really cool. Go give them a look. Anyway, thanks for watching.